Hello, everyone, and welcome to Real Estate Right Now. We talk about real estate matters that matter to you. My name is Jay Izzo, and we are live here from Linda Crafting Studios here in Raleigh, North Carolina, part of the Greater Research Triangle Park. I get to bring her back again. Kristy Slater with Show Homes of Raleigh comes back to join us. She is, usually we see her at Christmas time in the fall. She talks about, staging your house for those holidays and what you can do and those type of things. But I decided we need to talk about staging your house for the summer because a lot of you, as we've seen, inventories are rising across the country in regard to housing. And I wanted to talk to her about staging your house for the summer. So, Kristy, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. So, first of all, let's do this. Let's talk about what does Show Homes do so that people understand what you do and what your work is. So what does Show Homes Raleigh do?
Okay, so we have different services. So we do everything from regular traditional staging to staging while some people are living in the house. So we do partial staging. We do update and services, and we do interior consultations and design services. Perfect.
Yeah. So I've got a list of questions here. Mm-hmm. And so I thought maybe as people are thinking about putting their house up for sale, or maybe they just are looking for some ideas doing with living in their house. I thought we should go through some of these questions. So you ready?
Yes.
All right, here we do. First one is, how does staging differ in the summer compared to other seasons?
I would say because of the temperatures outside, we want to pay more attention to the outdoors and the patios, screen porches, things that evoke what you would do outside. If you were to purchase this house, it's not always just about the inside. It's what did the grounds look like?
In North Carolina, our summers can be really hot.
Yes,
and we've gone through a little
for
bit.
Sure.
Yeah, and we've seen the 100-degree days. Is there something that we should consider outside on those hot days that can help us?
I like to put up umbrellas, have maybe a canopy put onto the house if it doesn't have a screen porch. Maybe adding trees to provide eventually shade as they grow up too. I prefer to find a house that faces east-west because if the exterior is on the east side, then you're comfortable in the afternoon naturally.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I only picked 3 other houses prior to realize just how much I love an east-west facing house.
All right. Okay. Creating curb appeal. What are some key tips for enhancing curb appeal in the summer months?
So when you're putting your house on the market, you want to take a look at be scrutiny. Step back and pretend you're the buyer. Have more of an eagle eye when you're looking at things. Start at the curb, really, at your mailbox. Could it use some plantings? Is the mailbox nice and clean and letters or numbers visible? Then start walking up to the house, going through the driveway. How's the condition of the driveway? Does it need some power washing? Then as you get up closer to the house, step back. You got light bulbs out of the lights. How's your front door look? Does it need fresh paint? And then maybe adding some nice pop of color with some flowers and really making it feel homey just from stepping off the curb. That's the first impressions to buyers.
In your experience, and you've done this a long time. In your experience, do you find it difficult for sellers to take an unbiased look at their house? I mean, I'm sure you have to run into that. So how do you help people get past their bias?
Yes. So basically, we sit down and we have conversations of how long they lived in the house, what they have and haven't done to the house. A lot of people will try to put their house on the market without actually spending very much money into maintaining the house or making it look current. So when they do neutralize the house with paint and when they do remove some of their outdated furnishings and allow us to bring in and give them a fresh look, we show them, first of all, our stats, say everything. It's proven that stage houses sell much, much faster because of the emotional connection. We always tell them that the amount of money that they put in initially, you'll more than get back in keeping the sale of the house at its price point.
Mm.
Because once you go live with a house that is already outdated, hasn't really shown that it's been upkept, each week they're not going to get an offer, and they're going to have to keep lowering and keep lowering and keep lowering it. Where if they've been proactive on the front end and just spent the money, they would have been better off. So that's what we urge them to do.
How can homeowners, I love these questions, by the way, how can homeowners create a light and airy feel in their home during the summer staging?
So for sure, removing a lot of the personal touches and a lot of furniture to make sure that there's lots of floor space and room for people to move around. Last thing you want to do is have people funneled through, this, that, and the other to get around. Neutralizing the walls with paint is a big one. Opening up curtains and blinds and allowing as much light into the house makes the rooms look bigger, cleaner, brighter. Putting little final touches in the house, like fresh flowers, or maybe baking some cookies right before showing. So there's that smell that kind of evokes home. Bare minimal walls, stuff on the walls, let people be able to see and appreciate what the structure of the house, the details in the house, and things like that. So
I love that. Okay, well, let's talk about highlighting outdoor spaces. What do you recommend for staging, like patios, gardens, balconies, screen porches, to attract summer buyers?
So you want to make them look as best as you can and as clean, as tidy as you can. And adding the personal touches of like a tray with some lemonade on it, a vase with fresh cut flowers. You just want to make sure everything is landscaped very well, clean. Look for cobwebs. Make sure the outdoor fan isn't drooping because it's so old. You need to ever go out to it.
Yeah, no, I've done that.
So you want to make sure it just looks so inviting, even if it's not screened in. Say it's just an open deck. Put the nice furniture out there, make sure the cushions are nice and clean. A tablecloth on a table, if you set it with a tray and look like it's ready to be dined at.
Yeah. Fresh stain on the outdoor deck.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, those decks are, no one really loves to do the maintenance of a deck, but to do it proactively, keep your numbers up there for sure.
Yeah. Especially because, I think because we live in the house, we don't think very much about the deck needs to be stained again. But how many decks have you walked on where you go, because we're from the outside in, you go, ooh, they could.
That's the first thing, is stain it. Absolutely. Make sure it's safe, that there's, boards are secure, the handrails are secure. Those are things that an inspector is going to look for anyway. So you might as well just proactively have it look its best.
Right.
Just like when you get up and you want to go out into the world, what's the first thing you do? You take a shower, you get dressed nicely. A woman puts on makeup because you want to look your best. You should think of your house wanting to put its best foot forward.
So you need to put makeup on your house.
Yes.
Is what we're saying.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, I think it's other things too. Like sometimes people will stain their deck, but you got the work board. Right. You'd be surprised how many buyers, the first thing they'll look at is, oh my gosh, this board's warped.
We call, there's a phrase that we call, it's called putting the lipstick on the pig. It's where you take shortcuts and you haven't quite gotten there, and you're just masking things that are really glaring.
Right. Well, and it is, and it's just like, okay, maybe the board is still solid and sturdy, but it's warped, and people are going to go, well, what's wrong?
Yeah.
Because we all look for the negative.
Absolutely.
Buyers come into the house looking for negatives.
Absolutely. They look up the ceilings. They look for anything could have potentially been a roof leak, which is why staging helps, because it deters the eyes from staring at baseboards so intently.
Right.
It creates an environment that all of a sudden you feel connected to it. It's not just a sterile, empty room.
Right.
That's when people do get nitpicky, is when they got nothing else to look at.
Right. All right. Let's talk about temperature control. Lot of summer heat. So with summer heat in mind, how can staging help make the home more comfortable for buyers?
So you want to keep your house feeling comfortable with the cooling. If it's hot out, you want at least the room inside, all the rooms, the house to feel comfortable, to get them to linger and really appreciate the house. If you're moved out and it's vacant and you've got the heat, the air turned down
Mm,
so that it's barely on, and you walk into this hot, stuffy house,
mhm.
how are you going to spend any time in there? Because the last thing you
Right,
want to do is spend any amount of time in there. The worst thing you can do is
right.
turn that air so that it's barely comfortable for people to view.
Yeah, I think sometimes people want to save a few dollars, so they let the heat go a little
Yeah,
warmer.
yeah.
But you noticed this? Well, I'm sure you have. I don't even know why I asked it that way. I've noticed that when the house is warmer, you smell things that you didn't smell when it was cool.
It smells stodgy. The air's not running. Its fan's not circulating the air. And so what happens too is the humidity builds up
Right,
inside there. And if it's too stodgy, then what happens is mold and mildew can grow inside the space for it
right,
not being conditioned properly. And then there's a whole nother ball of wax.
right. So, all right.
Yes.
So, I know you're trying to save a few dollars, but
Mhm.
keeping it cool
Yes, is
actually
important.
does more for you than you realize here. Let's talk about color and decor
Mhm.
choices. Are there specific colors and decor styles that we should look at with summer staging?
I would just say again, back to the paint is the best inexpensive way of
Hmm.
getting your house to look light, bright, airy, newer. It also covers up smells too.
Hmm.
Um, People want to come in and feel like the space is ready to go and
Hmm.
neutralized and showing its best. And by changing the wall color, that's huge. You do little touches inside by, you know, if you've got gravitate towards darker colors and pillows or paintings and things like that, maybe go something for lighter, airier, adding pops of yellows
Hmm.
and pinks and sky blue, can really make a house feel so much more inviting than darker colors.
Yeah, I was wondering if I was going to ask you about that. Is if lighter colors in the summer, just to set off, if you got like dark furniture and how we have those
Mhm,
pillows that we put on the
mhm.
couches and things like that, if we
Exactly.
go
Yeah.
a little lighter and
Mhm.
get it to pop a little bit more. I I, I think color is important any time of year, but I think this time of year, since it's summer and we're have a tendency to be a little psychologically a little more happier and
Absolutely, with lighter color and color theory, I mean, absolute yellows, pinks, those brighter colors will naturally evoke a happier, lighter, airy feel.
I'm so glad you said that because I'm into color psychology, so I think it's cool. Um, let's talk about minimizing clutter. Why is decluttering particularly important in the summer for homeowners? And how can they achieve this effectively?
So putting away personal photos and anything that d we say if it's not helping, it's hurting. So you gotta
Mm,
kinda step back and be
mm,
critical. Again, think of what a buyer wants to come in and see. Do they wanna see your collection of, antique, Yadras or
right,
something?
right, right,
It's
right,
like,
right,
and not to mention those are collectibles and breakables. So
right,
we wanna minimize anything that's worth money that could possibly be
right.
pocketed.
Sure.
You're having strangers in the house. So, but lighter, airier, take things off the walls. If you have like collections of a particular art,
Hmm.
less is more when it comes to putting your house on the market. Um, Furniture, removing extra furniture again. So the mobility of people being able to walk around, all of these things will create a natural, lighter, airier feel inside the house. Then, especially when we take off heavy curtains, nobody really is into heavy curtains
Right.
anymore. They're such a personal thing, and they kind of want to dictate what someone's
Mm,
should be putting in there. And so, by having them removed, now you're neutralizing the space, also letting in all the light, rising blinds. Um, uh, yeah, I mean, those are pretty much what we
yeah,
guide people to do.
yeah. The furniture piece is a big deal. I think some I've been in homes where I know that people don't realize it, but you have too much furniture in your living room.
Mhm, mhm.
There's too many pieces in there.
Exactly, exactly.
And so the more furniture you have, especially bigger pieces of furniture like that,
Mhm.
the smaller the room looks.
Right. Also, when we rearrange a room for staging, it is for the photographer's view, not so much how you would live in the house. So sometimes we might put the sofa on the sidewall, but maybe the TV would be above the fireplace potentially. So as you're living in the house, maybe that's not the most comfortable view of sitting on the sofa looking at the TV from that angle, but we set up the room for sale.
Right.
So it's really from the perspective of the photographer that we make the furniture make sense.
How about things on flat surfaces? Like you go into a kitchen. I know everybody has their own thing about putting certain things, like they got the knife set in the counter and the coffee pot and the coffee center, and maybe they got a pizza oven or whatever. They've got gadgets and stuff all over. What's the rule of thumb for flat surfaces like in the kitchen?
We try to remove all appliances off the top if possible. Maybe we set up usually like a cookbook and a cookbook stand near the stove, maybe a utensil holder with a few things in it, a nice basket of something like maybe on the island. Less is more. I mean, you really don't want anything more than like 3 or 4 things on an island, or on countertop in a kitchen, just so they can see the beauty of the kitchen. And so it doesn't look so cluttered and with so much stuff on the countertop, it looks like there's no countertop availability. Right. So you want to make it look bigger by removing stuff.
Centerpiece on the dining room table or no?
Oh yeah. I like a nice dining room set with maybe a runner and a centerpiece. And when we stage, we'll even go as far as putting some place settings. I just think it evokes like, oh, this is what it would look like if I were entertaining.
Okay. So minimizing clutter is huge.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really huge. What features or aspects of a home tend to really appeal to buyers who are specifically looking to purchase a summer?
So having outdoor spaces is huge because we do a lot of indoor living, but also you want to have places to entertain maybe outside of the house. A nice front porch adds value. Having a screen porch, of course, is valuable. Having even little fire pit down on the yard and is nice. Those extra areas outside is another thing. As people are evaluating whether this house fits them, they're looking at those exterior spaces as well. They're huge.
What advice do you give to sellers about how far in advance they should be preparing their home for a summer sale?
Minimum 3 months. It takes a lot of work to do the prepping that we recommend that you do to get your house ready. Because there's so much decluttering, you think they're opening cabinets, they're opening closets. You want to have them looking sparse. Too much stuff in those closet spaces and anything touching the floor sends a message that there's not enough storage. That's the last thing you want to do. The garage, take some time and make sure that's a little tidy. You don't want that jam-packed with stuff. Your attic, if you've been hoarding stuff for 20 some years and that thing's chock or block full, again, it's not appealing to a buyer to see all that stuff.
What are you saying? Are you saying that we accumulate stuff over years?
Oh, yes. So the first thing we say is you're going to move. You're in this market, your house will eventually sell. Okay.
And generally pretty quickly.
I mean, very quickly. Usually most people, buyers or sellers, are like, oh my gosh, now what?
Yeah.
So you're going to be moving. You might as well be proactive. Start funneling through your stuff. Is it Goodwill, donation, or just garbage? Okay. Then the next phase is, once you get some of these stuff cleared out, then what do I need to do to the space to bring it up to par? Do I need flooring, carpeting? Do I need painting? The outside, don't forget about the outside with the landscaping, mulch, edging, make sure all your shrubs are trimmed. So then, but flooring, carpeting, any of that stuff could take time to order and then get installed. Give yourself a good window, at least 3 months.
Yeah. So if you're getting ready to sell right now and you don't have those 3 months, you got to get on it.
Yeah. Hire help.
Call Kristy right away. Call Kristy right away.
Because so many people try to do it themselves too, which is good, but it also, they might not be able to work at it as fast. So when you are pinched for time, do hire it out.
Right. Right. And they should hire Show Homes of Raleigh
Oh, of course.
to do that,
Yes.
shouldn't they? Right.
Yes.
And they should talk to you.
Yes.
Shouldn't they do
Yes,
that?
because we do offer a lot of those services.
Yeah. But speaking of the services that you offer, do you, like if people like you just mentioned, think about your 3 piles, right? You got your donation, you got garbage, and then maybe stuff that you're willing to keep,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Do you help them with any part of that piece?
We can guide them to people that are
Okay.
specifically organizers and
Okay.
also downsizers.
Okay.
But when it comes to flooring, carpeting, painting, we have services for all those
Okay.
vendors. Power washing, we have those people. Deep cleaning, that's another big one. Do not miss out on a good deep clean.
Okay.
Get all the baseboards, light fixtures, inside cabinets, your appliances that are conveying. Deep clean is huge.
Okay. All right. So they can help you.
Yeah.
They're connected with services that can absolutely help you do this. We talked about this before the show. What kind of an impact can effective staging have on the price of a home, particularly?
Well, we find that when we are brought in, staging definitely moves a house faster. Again, back to that emotional connection.
Mhm.
Walking in a room that you might not know how to put a purpose to,
Mhm.
that you're not understanding basically what you would utilize this for. We come in and we designate it as a purpose. And
Mhm.
then we also keep the eye on the feeling of the house rather than being so scrutinizing that they're looking at every little detail. We, the staging also, when we've been brought into houses that have tried to be on the market empty, it sits and doesn't get
Right.
the offers.
Uh-huh.
A realtor will bring us in, we'll stage it, and then usually within a couple of weeks, they get the offer.
Okay. So staging,
It works.
it really has an impact. It's significant.
Significant.
Yeah. What are some common mistakes that homeowners sometimes make in staging their house?
Not putting the work into it to getting it maintenance.
Okay.
Having too outdated furnishing styles.
Okay.
Having too much clutter inside
Yeah.
the house. And not making it look bright and well lit, because it's the big thing with the window cleaning is huge, and removing screens to allow
Right.
as much natural light in. Lift all your blinds and curtains. If you've got curtains, I recommend removing them. It's nobody wants to buy somebody else's dirt. Does that
Right.
make sense? Your
No,
house should.
no. No, it makes complete sense.
Sense.
Yeah, because I actually had I remember showing property early in my career, and somebody did refuse to want to walk into another resale. All right, now this is going to sound gross. So if you can't deal with this, right? And this is what he said to me. He said, "I don't want to walk on someone else's toenails."
Mhm. Yeah, that's why the deep cleaning is
It's so important,
huge.
right? Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I say step out of the fact you've lived there for 20 some
Right.
years and you've only seen it through your eyes. You have to kind of take a look at it through now a potential buyer. What are they going to see
Right.
when they come in your space? You want it to look as presentable as possible.
Right.
When you're talking about things that you've heard and seen, I've actually seen pictures online of somebody who didn't even make their bed and had their dirty laundry on the floor
There we
inside
go.
their bedroom.
There we go.
I was flabbergasted. I can't believe that actually made it onto the internet.
There we go.
That's wow.
We have done our time.
Okay.
It's gone so fast.
It has gone.
It does every time we're together.
Yeah,
I have to admit,
absolutely.
it's always when we're together, it always goes really fast. Thank you for being with us today. Tell folks out there how they can reach you and show Homes of Raleigh.
Yeah, feel free to reach out. We'd love to help you get your house staged or any other updating services. We're Show Homes of Raleigh. We are be found on the internet, Facebook, Instagram. We'd love to help.
Phone number?
I don't know it off the top of my
Okay.
head really bad.
Can
Sorry.
they just call you?
Yeah, they can call me, Kristy Slater, 919-930-1194.
That's awesome. Great. Call Kristy. She's going to be awesome. Thanks, Kristy, for being
Thank
with us.
you.
Folks, it's the show. You know what I say to you? You had a lot of choices. You chose us. Thank you so much. Give us a thumbs up and write us a 5-star positive review wherever you're watching or listening to the show. We appreciate you so much. As I say to you all over the world,